this video, I'm going to reveal to you all the details around Nick Haynes, how he got to the club, what the conversation was centered around with himself and Micharl Voss, the actual truth around his injury history and what has actually happened with his body, and also the role that he's going to be playing. So this has come from an interview that he did with Sam Edmund right after the announcement, and there are 3 or 4 really key bits of information that I think are very important. What I know about Nick Haynes up until this point, for the most part, has been based on outside assumptions. So let's start off with exactly when and how he got to the club.
I was towards back into the year. I told my manager throughout the year, and I just said didn't want to hear much until end of the year and just focus on football, try to play some good games and get back in the team. But probably later in the year, and met with Vossi probably just before the finals, and went down and had a medical, snuck into the facilities down in Melbourne. So, but no, we had a great chat over about an hour and a bit, and just our values aligned and both on the same page in terms of football and life. So, it was a pretty easy decision in the end.
Geez, touring of facilities is pretty bold, Nick. Did you have a disguise, like a good moustache or a pair of specs or something?
Well, I didn't really tour the facilities. I went to the back door through the VFL rooms and kept pretty quiet, so I didn't see too much. But
very interesting point there around how he snuck in the back and into the VFL change rooms, because to get into the Carlton Football Club to do a tour or to do any sort of meeting and it not get leaked, I think is a pretty good effort. So that was interesting. The next part was around his chat with Micharl Voss and also about the role that he is expecting to play, or what exactly he's been told that he will be doing when he does play for the club.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good meeting, and as I said, we talked for over an hour and just talked about life and football, and felt really comfortable and really exciting. So really looking forward to it.
I wonder what vision Micharl Voss has sold you. I mean, obviously there's a natural spark in you, I'm sure. You want to impress new teammates, you want to impress coaches, and that will be great being generated within you. But what sort of vision have they sold in terms of playing alongside Jacob Weitering potentially and Mitch McGovern, and how it might all work down there?
Yeah, not too much on the sense of how it's all going to work, but he just said, mate, there's a spot down there for you, and making your own. And as you said, there's no guarantees in football, but I think with me down there, we've got a great dynamic with that back seven with Sardi, Newey, Gov and Weitering, and I think the club just sees that there's a role for me down there as a third tall intercept defender, or can play tall or small. So there's no guarantees in football, but I think they believe that I can still play at the highest level, and that's given me great faith to show them and repay the faith by playing some good football.
And then finally, the talk around his health and his injury concerns. There's been a bit of a narrative that he's a bit injury prone. I had this perception that he had a few injuries every year. I wasn't aware the extent of exactly what his health issues were. And he actually goes on to say in this little bit here, things that he hasn't really said in the public before around his health and what was the reason for him missing the games that he did.
I think I had a few lean years there with I had some internal stomach issues and some immune system issues that aren't that well documented, but I went away and before last pre-season, and I spent a bit of money on all these naturopaths and all these natural stuff to get my body the way it was. And I thought this year I played some pretty good football. I'm only playing 8 games, but I felt like my body was back to what it hasn't been in the last few years. So I'm planning to stick to the same routine I did last pre-season. If I get a clear run at it, then I still think I could not just play football, but play football at a really high level.
Yeah, so not after chapter and verse on private medical information here, but just on that, I imagine it sounds like it's an issue that bothered you for some time, and maybe some uncertainty that came with that, and the lengths you went to get on top of it. Can you take us a bit through that, Nick?
Yeah, I had too many anti-inflammatories back in the day in 2015 when I had osteitis pubis, and developed a bit of throat stuff, so severe ulcers, this thing called Barrett's esophagus, which is like a bad tissue in the throat, and I had to go on this medication for a while just to help that. But then I think that was making more of a negative effect than a positive. So 1 year I lost about 6 kilos in about 3 months and couldn't digest food properly, and Was having real bad stomach issues, and then the year after that I had 12 staph infections and went to hospital twice for them. So trying to play football through that was really tough. And
Jeez.
but as I said, I went through a lot of work and was very disciplined to get my body the way it was, and I've been able to do that. So that's why I'm pretty excited to, have a good pre-season and show people that I can still play at the highest level.
There you go. That's a very interesting bit of information there, and I think it can very easily get forgotten about because it was a really low-key interview. It's sitting on the Carlton website now, but everything moves so quickly, and especially with the 2024 trade period happening and all the new interviews that are going to come. So this is a really good foundation. When you actually break it down and look at the form that he was in this year, he was solid in the AFL, and then he played 9 games in the VFL this year, and he actually averaged over 30 possessions and over 10 marks a game. Now, obviously, we're talking about a different league here, but it's not like he wasn't in great form. The reality is, when you're talking about a backline at the GWS Giants this year, which has the names of Sam Taylor, Jack Buckley, Connor Iden, these types, it's clear why he wasn't able to get a game and what they wanted to do moving forward. Now, for us, it's a 1-year deal. He comes in. If he's called to play, I think he can still play at a pretty high level. In fact, I'm really sure that he can. And at the end of the day, it's a 1-year deal. If he performs very well, he might earn the right to get another deal, 1-year deal again, or another 2-year deal. We'll see how it goes. I'm liking this the more and more I find out about him, and the more and more I find out about what he's going to be expected to do for us. And so, yeah, what do you think about what you've just heard? Let's chat about it.